The unknown is what makes our thoughts and questions endless. Only the bravest dare to dive into the abyss of the unexplored. The mysteries that lay beyond known ground are unearthed only by these extraordinary people. The wilderness is dark and quiet, filled with miles of uncharted land. Freedom lies within those unfamiliar trees and yearns to be sought after. Anything that our minds can fathom could be lurking in the shadowy branches, following our every step, intrigued by the scents we have brought with us. Nothing is impossible in this untracked terrain. This video will discuss the various viewpoints that three authors have on what awaits us in the wilderness. The climax in the story Rip Van Winkle is when Rip, in search for the amphitheater he was at 20 years earlier, sees a dark, deep ravine. Irving questioned as to what lies beyond. From a figurative standpoint, we can see that the deep ravine that Rip finds is a symbol of freedom and the wilderness. This image of the wilderness implies an unknown, which can be anything, good or bad. But if someone really wants it, they must be able to sacrifice in order to achieve it. Rip was surrounded by this wilderness, and instead of going down and getting it, he turned around to what was known to him, thus rejecting his chance of freedom. Irving's main message is that freedom is an unknown, whether it's good or bad, and we must cross a frontier in order to achieve it. In relation to Winthrop's city upon a hill dream, we must constantly cross these frontiers and never get lazy and seek out rest. When we rest, we become vulnerable to our past.
Surely I haven't slept here all night. That flagon, that wicked flagon. What excuse shall I make to Dame Van Winkle? Rusted. Whoa! Whoa! Where'd my dog go? Whoa! I wonder what's down that ravine. I'm hungry.
In The Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper, we clearly see the answer to Irving's question from Rip Van Winkle, what is freedom? On page 471, the quote, "Is there no difference, Hawkeye, between the stone-headed arrow of the warrior and the leaden bullet with which you kill?" In this sentence, we can see that Cooper means to say that all men are created equal, but in a figurative standpoint, we can see that Cooper is trying to say that since all men are equal, that the pursuit and drive for freedom is the same for everybody. On page 472, the stream shows that freedom does not stop. It is a continuation that must be pushed, exactly like water pushes over rocks. It does not stop after a war. The Indian and his tribe fought for and said that their territory ended where the water stopped. It did not. The water does not stop like Hawkeye mentions it, but instead it continues on as freedom. Again, in another frequent use of figurative language, we can see that the Indian means that there is need for sacrifice when he says go down into the valley for the freedom of his boy, who was the last of the Mohicans. To sum this all up, Cooper's answer to Irving's question was that we are all in the pursuit of freedom, that it does not simply stop, especially after a war, and finally one must be willing to sacrifice, give up something for the cause of freedom, even if it means your life. In the end, freedom was everlasting, open to all, but only open to those who are willing to work hard and sacrifice their lives for it.
Where are the blossoms of those summers? Fallen, one by one, so all of my family departed, each in his turn to the land of the spirits. I am on the hilltop and must go down into the valley. And when Uncas follows in my footsteps. There will no longer be any more blood of the Sagamores. For my boy is the last of the Mohicans.
Into a Waterfowl by William Cullen Bryant, we clearly see the answer to Irving's question, what is freedom? In the fifth stanza, we see that Bryant telling the waterfowl not to stoop to the welcome land, even though night is approaching and the bird is clearly tired. Bryant uses figurative language to make the welcome land symbolize the known society and its rules and regulations. In the next stanza, we see Bryant saying that the toil shall end, as the waterfowl will soon reach its sheltered nest after the hard work it put in to get this far. The sheltered nest is a symbol for freedom which Bryant uses very well. This was exactly what Irving was trying to say to obtain freedom, that one should push past their known boundaries and one of those made by their society and go into the unknown, anything good or bad. In conclusion, Bryant's answer to what is freedom is that we should go beyond the barriers and customs of societies, beyond what is safe of us, known to us, into a world into complete oblivion. And in the world we must work hard to get what is at the end, freedom.
Quack, 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 quack. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack. Quack, quack.
In Irving's magnificent allegory of freedom in regard to the American Revolution, he, through Rip Van Winkle, believed that freedom was more than just fighting a war. It was going out into the unknown, past the depths of knowledge into a place where it can either kill you or help you, but in the end will satisfy your quench for being free. He, by saying that freedom was the unknown, posed the question for others in his era to answer. What is this freedom? In The Last of the Mohicans, James Fenimore Cooper answered the call by responding that freedom was available open to all men, since every man is equal, that it never stops, and that finally, in order to achieve freedom, one must be willing to sacrifice everything, even if it means your life, in order that your family or you may achieve freedom. In To a Waterfowl, Bryant answered the question by saying that freedom was the wilderness, places of oblivion to man, but through hard work and perseverance, in the most challenging places, in the end it will be achieved. Basically, that hard work and persistence will, with everything else, bring you freedom. In the end, it can be said freedom is out there, and it is only up to us whether we risk everything or let it slip away like Rip Van Winkle.